social media just exposed what was already going on for many, many decades. Gamification of people was installed in them through traditional education for decades. I mean, literally, the purpose of the school is to keep people down. This is why we adopted the Prussian model of education, because we wanted to make sure people don't move up too fast, and we try to prevent that from happening by adopting the modern system of education. The entire system is designed like Pavlov's dogs. Start with the bell, end with the bell, listen to instructions, do this, do that, interrupt you in the middle, do not get creative, do not follow your passion. All of that was designed to keep people down, to keep you dumb. Social media just exposed that. Welcome back to today's Game Changers podcast. My name is Zach Story with my beautiful wife,
Natalya Story.
and today we'd like to talk to you about AI. AI is finally here. It was delivered to us by OpenAI, the company that Elon started, through ChatGPT. But it's interesting that me and you've been talking about AI for quite some time, and actually what it's going to mean for the kids in the future is how it's going to render the modern system of education completely useless, because everything will be done through AI, and those who will embrace it will be on top, and those who won't will not be.
I also think that modern education it's not that modern, right?
Yes, that's a good
It's not
point.
modern, it's just will show the flaws of it much faster, I guess, because it's used to be outdated for God knows how many years, and now it's
It's going to
not
be
just-
evident to everybody.
not just outdated. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be evident to everybody. At this moment, I think kind of those people that are thinking about it, it's evident to them right now. Those who are not thinking about it, maybe not so much, but be that as it may, I also want to talk about like what it means for the future in terms of a lot of people are worried right now, like terrified what it means for their kids' future. Will they have a job? Will they have a future? And I think it's the same scenario when the Industrial Revolution came about. Because if you think about it, before the Industrial Revolution, right? If you think about how society operated, it was very one-sided. So you had over 90% of people, probably 99% of people, who were either in the field, plowing the fields, or in the army. And the rest of the society was very few people were either royalty, either clerics, religious clerics, and some of them were engineers or like poets, but only the rich ones, because only the rich could afford to educate their kids. 90 plus, probably close to 99% of people were uneducated, either in the army or in the fields. That's it. There was nothing else, right? And then the Industrial Revolution came about, and you needed somebody to build the tractors and operate the tractors. And look, who's working in the fields now? When me and you go to our farm, local farm, the farmer is never plowing with his hands, right? He's got tractors. He's always using some kind of machinery,
Yeah.
So just the fact that we had Industrial Revolution doesn't mean people became unemployed. It just means they had to switch their jobs completely, which is what's going to be with AI, in my belief, that those who harness AI will be on top, and those who won't harness AI will not be. Just like today, we also have people who are not on top, and they're struggling, they're barely surviving, they're driving cabs or whatever that is. They're not using, what was the elite of yesterday, right? That was the people who were intellectuals or the knowledge worker. And now things are going to shift. How they're going to shift is unpredictable right now.
And that's probably what's causing all those fears, because whenever you feel so uncertain like you feel today, it causes a lot of frustration, fear, especially for kids' future. But it's not just that. It's like, I think evolutionarily people like to be useful. And now, probably for the first time in human history, we feel like something else can outsmart us, can do better job, can make it faster. And I think a lot of people feel fearful because of that, because for the first time in human history, something else is smarter, faster,
But let's also not forget the
more
fact that
efficient. And yes, you could say that it learned from us, but it has a potential to be much more superior.
I have no fear of AI. You know why? Because it's got no drive. It doesn't care. It's
Take-
not biological.
Take a look at a lot of people today. Take a look at kids
They're
today.
fearful because of neurobiology.
Our neurobiology was hacked way earlier than AI appeared on the horizon. Social media was the beginning stage of AI. And
Right.
take a look at kids. Are they driven by making a difference in majority, or they actually feel pretty comfortable sitting on the couch and scrolling through social media. They no longer driven. The hack of AI, they, I mean, it happened early. It happened in the first stage of social media. You're saying that people are driven. What percentage of human race are actually driven?
But let's talk about what you just said, because in my opinion, social media just exposed what was already going on for many, many decades, babe. The dumbification of people was installed in them through traditional education for decades. I mean, literally, the purpose of the school is to keep people down, right? This is why we adopted the Prussian model of education, because we wanted to make sure people don't move up too fast, and we try to prevent that from happening by adopting the modern system of education. The entire system is designed like Pavlov's dogs. Start with the bell, end with the bell, listen to instructions, do this, do that, interrupt you in the middle, do not get creative, do not follow your passion. All of that was designed to keep people down, to keep you dumb. Social media just exposed that. Yes, I'm sorry, it's the reality of life. You know, this is the world we live in. People don't think for themselves. We're emotional creatures. Those who don't realize that it takes a lot of work to actually stop being an emotional creature, that it's work. You can't just be rational thinker. You can't be born into it. You have to work on that. Like Joe Rogan says, that literally he works out every day for that reason, because unless he does, he is a slave to his emotions.
Actually, I disagree. No, you can't be born. If you're raised in a family that actually shows you how to think critically, how basically questioning everything, you're basically born to that.
But unless you do something about controlling, like I say that emotional control is the number one skill that we need to develop, because unless you learn to control your biology, you'll be a slave to it. 9-1 is the ratio they clocked at Berkeley. For every positive thought, for every positive emotion, you have 9 negative ones, because we evolutionarily were evolved this way.
You're saying that by controlling your neurobiology, you can control how everything that has been thrown out at you will not affect you.
It will, but you'll be at least in more or less control. Versus right now, most people are reactive.
But the algorithm of AI, it also works based on how you behave, and it adapts too. And it becomes already a race who will outperform whom, right? Because AI algorithm was it was learning based on our human behavior. It started
in the aggregate, though. In the aggregate, on human behavior in the aggregate. If you read Isaac Asimov's Foundation, the new science he created, right? That kind of predicts human behavior. It can only predict human behavior in the aggregate. When we're talking about masses of people, when you talk about individuals, you can predict their behavior, because individuals they can do things to think differently. But it starts with emotional control, emotional intelligence, controlling your own emotions first and foremost, especially now, when AI learn how to aggregate manipulate people, and it will, and it'll be utilized by people to manipulate people. We need to rethink everything about education. What's more important? You know, and I think it starts with emotional control intelligence. Everything else is irrelevant if you don't get that under control, because you'll be manipulated into thinking and feeling certain things that are not true, or true but not to your benefit.
What does it take to be an entrepreneur, to turn your idea into real successful business? Well, My Kid Entrepreneur book will inspire and teach your child to start their own business. With easy to understand language and fun illustrations, My Kid Entrepreneur breaks down the fundamentals of starting a business in a way that kids can understand. Your child will find an idea, the problem they want to solve, and how to build a business around that, how to launch and market their business. Kids will learn the importance of business math and that anything is possible. Remember, the future belongs to entrepreneurs. Get your book today and start making the world a better place tomorrow.
I agree. It's just interesting debate to have, because
and it's a good thing we started to have it,
because at some point I think that masses will give enough data to feed the algorithm, and probably the best way to avoid this will be to disconnect.
Yeah, I was going to say, just unplug.
Disconnecting is probably the only way.
No, not the only way. What if I
I'm-
start my day?
I mean, disconnect. Even if you'll start your day, I can describe you the perfect scenario.
Okay.
And because I've seen it before, you start your day by meditating, working out, being outside, exposing yourself
There
to
you go.
sun,
There you go.
and then you get into social media and you see pictures of dead bodies of kids. You say it's not going to affect you.
If you remember the first rule of critical thinking, nothing is what it seems.
Will it affect you or not? It will.
Yeah, but then you can change the algorithm to show it to you again.
It's going to, yes. But at that moment, it will affect you.
Yeah.
Because you seem like...
You're still a human being.
Yes.
Yes.
And you emotionally always going to respond first. And only then you're going to respond logically. This is how we evolutionarily...
That's not true. So that's not true. Not if you meditated and worked out that day. That's what I'm trying to say.
So you're saying that you're going to see a picture of that body. It's a kid laying down in the ground full of like blood. You think you're going to be able to think logically first?
If you've been meditating for years and exercising every single day, yes.
It's still going to shock you. It's still going to affect you.
Won't shock you. You'll be surprised at the ability of a human body to control itself if you've put in the work. If you haven't put in the work, yes, it will shock you.
Here's the thing. If it's not going to shock you, then you already not as human. I mean...
Yes, you're not as human as you evolutionarily grew up to be. Absolutely, because you evolutionarily, your ratio of negative to positive is 9-1. But if you practice gratitude and you meditate and you work out, the ratio becomes 5-4. Yes, you're not the same human. Absolutely, you're an enhanced human.
I agree. But at the same time, the uncertainty of AI will probably, especially given the fear I have, it's not how it affects neurobiology, because I can simply disconnect. I can simply not be exposed to that. That's my way, to deal with it. But I have a feeling or thoughts that it might affect very negatively when it starts faking stuff. That moment when it starts, especially if you'll take a look, our entire ecosystem, banking, insurance, everything, all the security is built on voice recognition, face recognition.
I want to put you at ease, because here's what really happened in humanity throughout its entire life. Every time we came up, we developed a technology that could be destructive to us. Like, look at the nuclear power that we developed like 80 years ago,
And
right?
we're still threatening each other.
But have we employed it ever since? Every time we created technology that's destructive, we created technology that controls it. We always do that. The same thing today. You're talking about deepfakes that AI... Let me finish my thought. Deepfakes that AI can create. We have already blockchain technology that can outstand that if we put everything on a blockchain that verifies it first. My point is, yes, there's always technology that can be used bad, but we can use the same technology to create preventative measures.
And that's what I said at the beginning. For the first time in human history, we have something to compete intellectually. So we'll create one technology. AI will adopt. It will create another technology. How to hack this, right? Then we'll try to create...
And it's a never-ending cycle. It will never end, and it's fine. That's how the world evolves.
Nobody knows how, we used to compete with countries. We used to compete with different technologies, right? Soviet Union, United States, sending rockets to the moon or to Mars. But we never,
Mars.
moon. I just recently watched another movie about moon.
Moon landing?
Yes. I mean, it's something that fascinates me, and I'm still curious why we stopped going there. It's just a different topic. We never, ever used to compete with another intellect. Never.
Yes, we did.
No, we didn't.
1,000 years ago, you were eaten by a tiger. That's an intellect that's hungry and it's coming for you. Yeah, we used to compete. Then we overcame it and we beat it because we came up with guns. Of course, we used to compete with another intellect. We used to be eaten alive. That's why we're so fearful. That's why our neurobiology is 9-1, negative to positive.
And that's why we still survived, because
Because we beat that intellect.
If you analyze the brain of tiger and brain of humans, you could see why.
Today's brain. What about a brain 200,000 years ago before prefrontal cortex was developed?
you could see why we did it, right? The question is, what will we need to develop in order to our brain we're capable?
I have an answer for you. I have an
You-
answer. You know what the answer is? The same reason why we became from apes to humans. Same reason. Mushrooms. Psilocybin. Enhanced cognitive abilities.
Speaking about mushrooms, we need to order.
Yeah, we'll take care of that. We'll take care of that. But my point is the stoned ape theory is the most probable theory of evolution,
And-
right? And given that technology, hey, like Rogan says again, if everybody tried mushrooms, we wouldn't have wars. Same approach. Me and you are planning to do a ceremony with Sky when he's 13 for that same very because he's going to be that's going to enhance his cognitive abilities and also calm down his nervous system and show the world in a different light.
Unfortunately, that's my opinion. And it's basically not supported by anything.
But fortunately, you
yet.
change your opinions.
Just yeah.
Fortunately,
Often.
you often change your opinions, and
Like
hopefully you
few
will on
times
this
a
one.
few times a day. But most likely what's going to happen is we'll need to synchronize our brain with the computer
Yeah, Neuralink.
in order to outsmart or in order to be compatible with the brain, with the intellect
Yes,
that we created.
just part of evolution.
Because somehow we as humans, we have hard time connecting with each other because our competitive nature evolutionarily doesn't allow until today in schools you cannot collaborate with each other. It's called cheating, right? It's like you would perform so much better if you would work as an entire group, as an entire like thinking mechanism, sort of like AI does. But we still don't do that. So mathematically it will outperform humans faster simply because we don't collaborate
Unless we evolve and we have neural links.
and we need to make it fast.
Oh, it's
That's-
coming. It's
that's
coming
my
faster than
opinion.
people think. I think Elon said that this year they're going to have the first version installed, which is going to help with disorders and stuff like that. But, so we'll see how fast that goes. But now that AI is here, Neuralink development will actually get much, much faster.
Do you think it's not going to be able to hack our Neuralink? Do you think it's not going to be?
I guess that remains to be seen. But right now we need to end this segment because we're running out of time, and we'll continue this conversation in AI Part 2. Tune into that. You'll see much more heated debate than even this one today.